Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday, March 30th. We are almost done with the month of March, almost into April. I'm going to read an AR story for you guys. This one is called the Nutty Nut Chase. Here is the code and reading level. You can go ahead and type that in your AR app, or you can type in the title. It is up to you. Before we're done with the video, I will ask you a couple of questions to get your brain thinking about the story before you take the quiz. If you would like to reread the story for better comprehension, go ahead and watch this video again before you take your test. Alrighty, this is called The Nutty Nut Chase. This was a book that was new to our library, so hopefully a lot of you haven't read it yet. The Nutty Nut Chase. Hickory was making rude faces at Pecan when the strangest thing happened. Pop! A shiny brown nut suddenly burst up from the ground. It wobbled and shook, wibbled and quivered, then lay there, teasingly delicious. Wow, lunch! Pecan shouted. Wow, lunch and dinner! Hickory screeched. It's my nut, said Pecan. It's mine, snapped Hickory. Who's making that noise? Shouted Badger. I'm trying to sleep. All the animals came out to see what was happening. My nut! Shouted Pecan. It's mine, yelled Hickory. I saw it first. Did so. Bop his nose, shouted Littlest Rabbit. Certainly not. Bopping noses doesn't solve problems, says Badger firmly. There will be a competition, and the winner will get the nut. I wonder what type of competition it will be. I know, said Hedgehog. The prickliest will win the nut. But you're the prickliest, said Pecan and Hickory. So I am, said Hedgehog, delighted. I win. I get the nut. Cuddliest gets the nut, said the littlest rabbit. I win. Enough, said Badger. We will have a race. First to reach the post wins. Hooray! A race! Everyone cheered. Blackbird whistled the start of the race. They were off. Pecan and Hickory shot ahead, but the rabbits were close behind. Hedgehog tried to run, but only managed to waddle. In a huff, he curled himself into a ball and rolled full speed down the slope. Littlest Rabbit looked back to see a prickly ball spinning towards them. Look out! He called. Too late. Hedgehog crashed through the racers like a cannonball, and everyone landed in a prickly heap. Oh dear, said Badger. We'll have to start again. We'll have to start again, and prickly cannonballs aren't allowed. Hedgehog snorted and sulked off. Blackbird whistled and they were off again. Pecan and Hickory were neck and neck. My nut! Shouted Pecan triumphantly. I win! No, shouted Hickory. It's mine! I win! Suddenly, the nut began to move. It twitched and jerked, joggled and jiggled until, plop, it disappeared down into the ground. It's a magic nut, shouted Littlest Rabbit. Nutty magic, squealed Hedgehog, racing back to see. Bet it would have tasted magic, too. The nut sprang back up, right in front of Shrew. Quick, grab it, yelled Littlest Rabbit. All the animals shot across the grass, rolling and shrieking, jumping and hopping, banging and bopping into each other. I've got it, shouted Hedgehog, but the nut vanished again. That's my nose, Shrew squeaked. If you want to look at the pictures longer, you can pause the video. Shh, said Badger suddenly. Look. He pointed at the magic nut that had appeared at his feet. Everyone tiptoed up to it. The nut shook and quivered. The animals looked in amazement. Help, squeaked the nut. Ah! Squealed littlest rabbit. A talking nut! You're a talking nut? Said Pecan. Oops, sorry. Pecan and Hickory bent down and pulled and tugged, yanked and wrenched at the nutshell with all their might. Pop! Out flew the nutshell, sending Pecan and Hickory rolling backwards. And there, where the nut had been, was a mole. Mole shook himself and stood up on his two tiny legs. Thanks, he said. I thought I would be stuck in that nutshell forever. Littlest Rabbit put the empty shell on his head. It makes a great hat, he giggled. That looked like the tastiest nut ever, groaned Pecan and Hickory. There's plenty more where that came from, chirped Mole, and he disappeared underground. Suddenly, shiny nuts began popping up all over the place. There's enough for everyone, Mole chuckled. Magic, shouted Hickory. Magic, shouted Pecan. Nutty magic, everyone shouted, and they all munched with delight. And that's the end. Alrighty, so that was Nutty Nut Chase. Couple of questions before you go and take your quiz. What was the main idea of that story? If somebody were to ask you what the Nutty Nut Chase was all about, if you could answer them in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say the main idea of the story was about? Also, it doesn't exactly say, but you can figure it out. What was the setting of the story? If you want to go back and look at the pictures, you can. Or just based on the story itself, where do you think the story was taking place? Okay, I got to read between the lines on that one. And this should be a fun one. Who are the characters in that story? I could think of a handful. I would say think of about 3 that you could think of off the top of your head. 3 different characters from that story. And try to think of their names or what they were called by. Okay. So go ahead and take your AR quiz. Good luck. I'm enjoying seeing who is taking tests and how well you guys are doing. If you take one, you get 100%. Send me a message so I can know right away. Don't forget to select that somebody read the story to you. I will be uploading new stories each day, so stay tuned for a new AR story. If you have books at home and you'd like to look them up to see if they're AR books, you just look up Accelerated Reader on Google, and then you can find the link that says Book Finder, okay? So you can do that at home with your own books, and then I can see how you guys are doing. Alrighty, I'll see you tomorrow for more AR stories. Have a good day.